Bakugo F tier.
Close to the land of the lost and lonely. Don't be afraid, we'll be one big family of freaks like you and me. I know.
Hello heroes, welcome back to the channel. Today we are delving into Class 1A from My Hero Academia. We'll be ranking each student based off their my personal bias, their character development, and just some plain old gut feeling. Now let's navigate this hero-invested landscape together. Now we're going by seat order in all honesty. Starting off with seat 1, Yuga Aoyama. Pros for him, he's got a unique and kind of humanist quirk with nasal labor. You know, it's unlike all the others, but for those who haven't got to that part in the manga, I'm not sure if it's in the anime yet, there is a reason behind that. And I find his can't stop twinkling kind of funny, you know? And his cheese gag, it is funny, you know? But at the same time, it's annoying. He can be a bit annoying, he can be distracting. He's always looking at the camera. That's a positive. That is a pro. He potentially falls in a cliche of queer representation. And then there's some manga spoilers which do help his character a little bit, but also not. But I'm not going to spoil that for you guys. So overall, I'm going to place him in the D tier. Due to like a bit annoying sometimes, and stereotype concerns, and lack of like standout heroic or narrative moments. But I do think his like funny and iconic moments, like the cheese or staring at the camera, his can't stop twinkling, I think that's all fine. You know, like he could be a bit annoying, but I don't think he's bad. So D tier overall. Next up is Mina. I personally really like Mina. And that has totally nothing to do with the fact that she is athletic, has abs and strong legs at all. Definitely not. Getting on to the positive aspects, there's obviously her athletic physique, strong legs, her bubbly personality, the fact that she can dance, you know? I like her quirk. In neutral, she's outgoing and extroverted, which can be a positive to some people, but negative to others, depending on the person. In Mina's case, it's more on the positive side as she encourages socialization, at least in general. I'm thinking, like, if she was in Class 3, then I forgot his name, Tamaki, I think his name is. That would be horrible if she tried to do that with him, because that's just not who he is, you know what I mean? Mirio does that perfectly. But anyway, that's more like neutral. On positive, her potential for combat due to her athletic capability and dancing, it's just not fully realized. She should really be more of a brawler, to be honest. Or like, I'm not saying like a brawler like Kirishima, but hand-to-hand combatant. But she seems to be more throwing her acid. But like, due to her dancing ability and her physique, she's really athletic. I think it's underutilized in combat, in all honesty. And she hasn't had much screen time, really. Like, she hasn't had none like others. She hasn't had enough. And there's not been much character development. So while Mina possesses a charming and lively personality, her potential in combat remains untapped. She deserves like more character development and screen time. But she's a positive and likable character who is athletically fit. And I like that in a woman. I want to put her higher, but I'm gonna have to go C tier to make this fair. Next up in seat 3 is Tsuyu Asui. First things first, what that tongue doing? What that tongue doing? That was terrible, forgive me. But she has some unique qualities that make her quite an interesting character. Unique quirk, frog contributes to her athleticism. And like, it's unique quirk because like most others in the class, it's like one power, you know, like, oh, I can make things light. She plays a guiding role for characters like Mineta, an older cousin. Now, I don't think most people realise that, and hear me out, I kind of ship them together a little bit. Yeah, obviously, it's not my main ship for her at all, but just there, because one, like anytime he's being perverted, she will casually like slap him with a tongue or something, you know, put him in the place, without like talking down to him type thing. And there's just something about that that's just really wholesome. And as I said, she's athletic due to her frog quirk, contributing to leg strength, which, you know, big plus. She has a significant amount of screen time for members in Class 1A, particularly because she's a friend to Ochako and Izuku Midoriya, the main character. And she's level-headed and grounded. But she can be a bit of a stick in the mud at times, lacks significant humorous moments in my opinion, even though those episodes where she was doing her work studies and there was the seal guy who she kept calling cute every time he tried to act cute and he was being manly and no one thought it was. I found that funny and I liked that, but there's not enough. And she's yet to have really any major fight or development. In my opinion, she's had fights with Toga and other characters, but there's never really been major fights, you know what I mean? But overall, Suyu earns a spot in B tier. I think she's a solid B tier. While her quirk's unique, good-natured, significant screen time, the lack of humour and the major absence of a big fight, you gotta have one of those, to really hold your own, I think. So next up, we're going on to seat 4, I believe. None other than Tenya Ida. Since we were speaking of Deku's friends, I think this is a perfect time. Tenya Ida is an integral member of Class 1A, known for his serious attitude, distinctive hand movements, or which as fans have called demonic hand movements, or robotic hand movements, and is close friend with Izuku Midoriya. Now, he's one of Izuku Midoriya's first real friends, and arguably his best friend. People will say Katsuki Bakugo, but that's something else. That's a whole other thing to unpack. It's between Todoroki and Ida. He has humorous elements from his over serious nature, and especially with when he's being the class rep. It makes for a funny moment. Unique hand movements, dubbed or robotic or demon hands by fans, as I mentioned earlier. Significant character development after the Stain arc, which is mad, considering right here I just put limited visibility in significant fights with one, but it's he had one against Stain, but I've put here, that was more a backseat, he had a prominent character arc, but not a fight, he played a part in it, but it was more Todoroki and Izuku, that were the main aspects there. Either way, Tenya Ida secures his solid B tier. I think he's the poster boy for B tier. His close friendship, the humour derived from his serious nature, his quirk, makes him a standout. While his character development is noteworthy, I don't think it can make him A tier. A tier is just so good. S tier is perfection. I love him, to bits. And this isn't just a subjective, an objective viewpoint. It's a bit of subjective stuff mixed in there too, which is why I can't put Mina higher when I want to, Tenya higher when I want to. Speaking of Tenya, we've got his other good friend and romantic interest for Izuku Midoriya, Ochako Uraraka, seat number 5. Pros, behind her initial role as Izuku's love interest, she has evolved into a determined and skilled hero, which I think is aided by, in the sports festival, her fight with Bakugo stapled the change in her character from what everyone thought was going to be another kind of damsel in distress type love interest to, oh no, she's got a cool power that's pretty good and she's clearly getting better at fighting. She studies under Gunhead, improves a lot, then sees Izuku Midoriya's rope things and puts those in. She's got a cute appearance, accentuated by a distinctive face, as well as charming personality. Pursued martial arts under Pro Head. I think that's what more heroes need to do, seek out people to improve them rather than just who they think is cool, you know what I mean? She sought him out as that offer came to her, and she wanted to be a rescue hero, but she chose that because she knew she needed to be better at combat and more well-rounded. She's adaptive as well, as I said. Not only did she do that, she saw Deku's black whip, and she was like, let me get some of that. And she wasn't just talking about Deku, she was talking about the ropes, which she added in to her costume. And while at first her motive was money, it's also adapted to be a hero who helps those who need help when helping others, so hero who helps heroes. Her relation with Toga, especially in the manga, I really, really enjoy that, especially in the recent chapters. I'm not going to spoil anything. If you haven't read it, go read it. If you can't read it, wait until the manga and try not to get any spoilers because it is good. And she's got an adorable personality and she's attractive. There aren't any major cons, to be honest. Sometimes she can see a bit one note and she hasn't got any major fights. She has, but most of her major fights aren't fights per se, and the more character conversations that involve a bit of battling, I'm going to have to put her in A tier. Her endearing qualities, character evolution, her dedication to becoming a versatile hero sets her apart, I think, and she's adorable. So, A tier. Next up, we have Mashiro Ojo, seat 6. I like that he's a martial artist, and I like that he wears a gi. As a martial artist myself, or someone who did martial arts before a few injuries and illness, which have put me out for like 6 years now. Oh, Jesus. That's... I respect that, but he has he's barely any screen time. No character development. And I think for someone who does martial arts, he's not really seen doing much martial arts, just spinning around hitting his tail. So, I think D tier. Next up, seat 7, Denki Kaminari. Humorous, shows a respectful side whilst being a bit flirty. Like him and Mineta are like the perverts, but he's like a respectful pervert, you know what I mean? You don't see him push his boundaries. A prime example is at the beginning, he flirts with Ochako, but as soon as he realizes she clearly doesn't like him and likes Izuku Midori instead, he leaves it and does not hit on her again. Mineta wouldn't do that. He's also cool, funny. I like his quirk, and I like the fact that it kind of like fries his brain, you know, like the limitations behind it kind of make sense. And to be honest, he's attractive. I don't know what to say, he's just an attractive guy. He tends to be overly stupid sometimes, that's a bit of a downer. Like, I don't mind stupid, but he's a bit stupid too many times, especially when you see moments when he aren't. You like, have a bit more of that. He hasn't had much character growth, and he relies on others for improvement. Like, what I mean is, most of his, like, best feats come from, like, Asui or Bakugo ordering him around. Like, this is what you have to do. Those are what his most improvements are, and I don't think that should be the case. So I think I'm going to have to put him C tier. I really like him, but just haven't seen any improvement. He's, like, stayed the same, you know what I mean? And that's worthy of being put down. Seat 8, one of his best friends, Enjiro Kirishima. Perfect embodiment of non-toxic masculinity. He's lovable, good-natured, a good friend, calm, hard-working, has a positive mentality, represents the ideal hero. He's had a key fight in the Overhaul arc, and he's been improving. He has moments of being a little dumb, which can be a bit like annoying, but he's A tier, and I think he's a solid S tier contender. I'm torn between the two. I am torn between A and S tier. Then we have seat 9, Koja Cody. Limited impact in combat situations. Quirk potential remains partly unexplored. Insufficient character development. Minimal presence to the storyline. Quite frankly, not much about him. I think he finds himself in the E tier. Categorized an underutilized quirk and a lack of significant contribute to the narrative, or just at all, really. And I can find his timid and quiet nature a bit annoying. I get that's his character, but he's like too quiet for someone like that. You know what I mean? But that's just my personal opinion. Some people like him, and I'm not putting anyone in F tier unless I like hate them. You know what I mean? That's why no one's in F tier so far. 10, we have Rikaido Sato, I believe. He's skilled at baking. Bonus. Got a rabbit. Bonus. But limited impact on battles. Lack of significant character development. Minimal screen time. Quirk is perceived as less than useful in heroic situations, at least in my opinion, because, I mean, he can get stronger from getting diabetes, essentially, eating sugar, and, like, it's for strengthening Quirk. It's, like, Kirishima's is better. Izuku Midori's better. Like, there are better but even, like, not of that. There are better strengthening quirks that we know of. So, E tier. It's just solid E tier. 11, Mizu Shoji. I actually like him. Quite a bit. I don't think he's used enough though. But he's useful and versatile quirk. He's rather intelligent. I see him strategizing a lot. He's powerful, you know, not one of the top tiers, but he's not bottom by any means. And he's caring, especially towards his friends. We don't see him enough, and he has no major like standout moments as of yet. Though there's a little bit happening in the manga, so hopefully that goes somewhere. But I have to place him in C tier. Solid qualities, including useful quirk, intelligence, and all that. And I just like the guy, to be honest. There's nothing bad about him, really. It just don't see enough of him. Solid C tier. Up next, seat 12, Kyoko Jiro. Oh, I love Jiro. I do. I really do. She has great character vibes, enjoyable. Her teasing dynamics with Denki, I love them. I like shipping them together. I like it. I also like the Momo versus Jiro ship. I didn't at first, but then I was like, you know what? No, I really like this, and now I love the ship. I prefer her and Denki like canonically, but headcanon wise, I love her and Momo just as much. She's actually had significant contributions to major fights. If you look in most of the team fights, she's played a role. Even though sometimes it's just scouting. But in the manga, she's had a major role in a fight against a major villain. I'm not going to spoil who or how, but that is a big pro. She's a talented singer, key role in the festival arc. Notable impact despite somewhat limited screen time. She has a limited screen time, but compared to those that have a limited screen time, she has more screen time then. I'm going to place her in B tier due to her great vibe, enjoyable dynamics with other characters, significant contributions in major fights, and all this. I just don't think there's enough to put her in A tier. I love her and I want to put her there, but I just don't think there's enough. If I compare her to who's in A tier, I don't think she quite levels up the same. Seat 13, we have Hanta, Zero. We have Zero. Strong friendship with Denki and Kirishima. I love their dynamics together. Performs well in class competitions, class tournaments. He did very well in the tournament arc, only being beaten by Todoroki, who at that point was the strongest one. I know he lost in the final, but that's because he wasn't using his full power and was too busy being mentally conflicted to focus on the fight. Otherwise, he would have won. And he's got a good sense of humour, kind of, limited screen time, no major fights. To be honest, he seemingly has a bad quirk, but he uses it so well, doesn't seem like a bad quirk anymore. I think he's just a solid C tier. Personally, it's just that I don't like him that much to put him in B tier. And I don't know why I don't like him that much. I don't dislike him. I like him, just not as much as those in B tier. Seat 14, Fumikage Tokiyami even. He's got a unique quirk that's powerful in Dark Shadow. He's intelligent. He shows good growth, especially under the mentorship of Hawks. One, he learns to fly with his quirk. And he strengthens his body physically. He never fought physically before, but he was taught how to, and I think that's a big improvement because that was a weakness. And you don't see many of these heroes actually trying to improve upon their weakness. I like him going, revelry in the dark. I like that, I do. But he can be a tad annoying about Hawks. I think solid B tier, well-written character. Seat number 15, Shoto Todoroki, we've mentioned a few times now. He's smart, he's powerful, outstanding character growth. Top 3 in the whole series, alongside his father and Bakugo, a fellow classmate. Realistic family dynamics, adding depth to his character. Everything about his family is so well written and well done. But because of that, he's socially awkward, which leads to really funny moments. And you just love him. He's a lovable guy. Caring nature despite his cold exterior. I don't think he has any cons, to be honest. I love him. I'm putting him in S tier. I'm putting Shoto Todoroki in S tier. Seat 16, Toru Hagakure, or Hagakure Toru. She's a fun, likable character. Unique quirk concept, of invisibility on all the time. Just like Mina, she's a shipper, adding interesting, it's an interesting, how they view each other, But her limited visibility, which I just praised, makes it challenging to, connect with her. She tends to tag along with what others say. If you notice, a lot of the time, she doesn't say things. She repeats what others say. Not exactly, but, yeah, I agree, or something, she tags onto other people's conversations, and it just find that a bit of a negative. And we don't know too much, about her. She's never had any major character growth. I'm gonna have to put her in D tier. I don't see her being with the people I've put above. Seat 17, Katsuki Bakugo. Now this is a character I would have put in F tier not that long ago. Bakugo would have been F tier. But his pros currently are Bakugo undergoes significant character growth, moving away from his initial aggressive, selfish tendencies, demonstrates genuine care and concern, even if he does hide it through his abrasive personality. He even apologizes about his past actions, which I know shouldn't be a positive. He should, that's a given. But not enough people do. And remember, he's a 15-year-old boy. It's going to be hard to put down that ego, especially since he's got a very big ego. He has exceptional fighting spirit and natural combat instincts. He competes at a high level, displaying natural talents and impressive combat abilities. Recognizable physical attractiveness, quite frankly. He got more attractive as the series went on. And I think a pro that, for some reason, is not on my script when I kept trying to put it in my script, is he never, for some reason it's in the cons. I don't know why it's in the cons. While possessing a powerful and versatile quirk, it's not inherently the strongest. Like, Izuku Midoriya got one for all the strongest quirk, or the top 2 strongest quirks in the show from All Might and then received training. Or it's not like Todoroki, whose father is the number 2, who then becomes number 1 hero in Japan with the most solved cases, who's been training Todoroki since very young. Bakugo has essentially done it all himself, and he's competing with them. And I think that's very impressive. His cons, early instances of bullying and aggressive behaviour, including suicide baiting. And as someone who's been there, I just couldn't forgive him, and I hated him for a long time. But I've looked at it and this is a character growth. He's no longer doing that. And I think there needs to be a moment where he stops someone doing it, I think he's a solid B tier. And I think the reason he can't go any higher, despite me really enjoying his character arc, is because there are times he's just too aggressive, too annoying again. And it's longevity. It's only recently, the last few months, month or 2, maybe 3, I've really started to come round on his character. I've been slowly coming around, but only really recently. So, B tier. Next up, we have Izuku Midoriya. His emotional depth is an actual realistic portrayal of a young hero. People say he's a crybaby. I don't think he is. He's just showing he's emotional. He can actually work as a normal living human instead of the rest of us. His dedication of studying heroes when he was young carries on, and you can see him learn from them. I don't think it's as obvious as it should be, apart from when he copies his own classmates' moves. For example, he copies Sarah when he gets Black Whip. When he can move around in the air, he copies Bakugo. When he uses his leg, he copies Ida, and things like that. He's very kind and compassionate. His growth from being a pushover, essentially, to a strong-willed individual, great. And I like how his power grew. Technically, he had all the power to begin with. His body couldn't cope. And as his body learned to cope, it's more he learned to use his power better, going from breaking his arm to just breaking fingers, to not breaking it, lowering the output and doing it throughout his whole body and so forth. I really like that. The only con is he can be a bit whiny sometimes, but his only real con, in my opinion, is his desire to emulate All Might, right? That's his desire. But All Might's whole thing is to smile, to put others at ease, which Deku keeps wanting. But Deku has never done that. I think he should have by now, quite frankly. I think top tier, A tier, possibly bordering S tier due to underrated character qualities, and he's rather cute, quite frankly. But I'm going to have to go A tier. A tier is great. Seat 18, Minoru Mineta. Wait, I meant seat 19. I don't know why it says 18 on my script. He's good with his quirk, and improves in combat. Despite being a coward and not really having the best looking quirk, he does pretty well for it, especially during the joint training arc. He does provide comic relief. He does make some small steps through the character development, like when he confesses to Izuku Midoriya, even though in the anime it's portrayed as differently, but the point is, great character, well, not great, but okay. He made some. His perverted behavior can be very annoying. I think it's too much. There's no, redeeming quality. Sanji is powerful fighter, right? Denki is comic relief, funny, but still respectful. Master Roshi is a teacher. Jiraiya is both powerful and a teacher. These are all perverted characters who we kind of forgive because there's still boundaries and they still have their strengths and weaknesses, as characters. But he just doesn't. But he does utilize it. He's a coward, but he doesn't use his quirk quite well. But E tier, annoying at times, and it's just while he can be funny and he can be alright, I don't hate the guy. I don't think I'm the only one. Seat 20, we have Momo Yaoyorozu. Very attractive. Carries a mature aura. She's like a mother. She's got a MILF body despite being young. She's very smart, kind, caring. I like her development going from kind of an intelligent know-it-all to doubting herself to now you see her, like it's not just fixed over time. That was done in like what, season 2, season 3 of that anime, and now we're in like season 7, 8 now, something like that. 9, we're in one of those seasons, and she's still struggling a little, but you can see the improvements. Her quirk is when you think about it, it's like seems really overpowered, but you need to be intelligent because you need to know the makeup of whatever it is in order to create it. And she creates so many different things, which shows her intelligence and her memory. She acts like a motherly figure. I enjoy that dynamic. She's had key moments. I don't think she's had any key fights, but she's had key moments, creating a tracking device to put on the Nomu, and was one of the 4 people who went to go rescue Bakugo. She also created, what was it, sleeping or paralysis agent to use against gigantic MHA. And she excels as a commander due to her intelligence and quirk. Her confidence is shot a little, but you can see that in stressful situations she now steps up, and that adds more to it. I just think I think the only negative about her is she could have used her powers even further if she also trained her body and in skills, like if she learned how to use a gun, for example, or a sword, or a bow staff. You know, these are all, she would be able to fight up close and personal as well if needed to. Yeah, because that's a bit of a weakness. But I think A tier. I want to put S tier, but I think A tier. Her and Ochako are my 2 favourites in Class 1A, with Mina being very close behind, and same with Jiro. They're arguably 2 of my favourites in the show. I think the only one above them is Rumi, or as some of you know, Miriko, the rabbit hero. I think obvious reasons by now. But that's Class 1A ranked. Thank you guys for watching. If you have enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave a like and share it with your friends. I've got loads of other content on my channel if you'd like to watch. If you like My Hero Academia, there's My Hero Academia lyric prank that came out on the 1st of January 2024. Oh, also, I hope you all had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. This is the first video I've made since the New Year, so that's why I didn't say it in the first video of this month. I'm assuming this video is going to go up 2nd or 4th of this month, like Monday. Be sure to subscribe to keep up to date. I do have future My Hero Academia and Percy Jackson content coming out. And I've got a One Piece tier list, Percy Jackson tier list coming out some point soon. I've got more lyric pranks. And once the Percy Jackson series is done, I'm going to do a review of the whole season as a whole, and then go more in depth as I rewatch it. If you have any questions about that show, please let me know in the comment below. Or any questions, please let me know in the comment section below. I do have one question for you that's kind of important. I have got a PlayStation 5 for Christmas, and I've got a new Overwatch account because it wouldn't let me sign into my old one. I was wondering if you guys wanted to occasionally watch me do Overwatch, mostly as those anime-style characters like Genji. And it would be first quick play and arcade, but maybe sometimes ranking, see if I can get as high as I can with just those types of characters. But if I did do that, that means that month would be reduced, you know, to instead of 4 videos, 2, and it would be 2 big videos. So let me know. Anyway, I'll let you guys be. I think I've kept you long enough. Peace.